Hey guys, welcome back to 12 Mile Garage. Today I want to do a slightly medium review, in my opinion, of the Durablocks. I don't have them all here, but I do have behind me the two that I chose for this job. And I wanted to talk a little bit about using the right sandpaper and the right block. I don't know specifics on a lot of this stuff, but I'm just telling you what I have learned by doing such things, and just going by feel and kind of learning. I do know that drywall sanding blocks are more abrasive than what is labeled on them. So like a 220 Duragold sticky back sandpaper, which I got behind me, I'll show you here in a minute. It is more abrasive than the Duragold auto body, and you'll get mixed up, and you'll try to, you'll knock down your filler, and then you'll be like, okay, I'm ready for something to take some scratches out and start, leveling my piece out. And you'll grab another block, which I did, and it was almost just as abrasive, and it was taking too much off. There's several spots on this truck where, I need guide coat. I haven't got any guide coat yet. It works wonders. I have used it on other small projects. It just, a panel will lie to you. You'll run your hand across it and it'll feel smooth, and you'll put guide coat on it and it will just be riddled with little imperfections and stuff, and you'll be able to see that and repair that. But today's video is mostly going to be about the Durablocks and the different types of sandpaper, and I think maybe at the end I'm going to do a little bit of sanding if you want to watch that. And of course, you've seen a marker. I'm going to kind of use that as like a little bit of a kind of a guide as well on some seriously high spots. I wouldn't recommend using a marker on like something is super like almost flat, but you don't really know, because it's going to soak in deeper, and you're going to sand and sand and sand. The line's going to be there, and then all of a sudden you ran out of filler and your dent's exposed. But if it's really, really high and you want to know, where you're at, I use a marker. But like I said a minute ago, I need to get some actual guide coat. It's Duragold brand. But anyway, let's get into it. As you see, the first ones here, these are drywall sanding blocks. I recommend these. This one's a Gator brand, and I recommend these to like knock down like your heavy stuff, right as soon as you start, because they're kind of a throwaway type. They're super cheap. You can find them at any Westlakes or Ace Hardware, and they're fairly inexpensive. But what I will say is that you will find yourself putting waves in your body filler, because this is also, extremely flexible, as you can see. So wherever you're pushing, it's going to make a hot spot in your block, because it's less rigid. So what I found to be productive on correcting that issue is using a file. I got a file here, and it's just a regular old steel file, and it's it's rigid, okay. So you take this and lay it over the top, and this was before I bought my Durablock, so I had to figure out how to not make a hot spot. So it's hard to see but when you're pressing down on that, it creates an even pressure surface, and it really helps when you're using these drywall blocks. But this little guy here was my first one. This was my first one I got. You know, it works pretty good. It's super duper abrasive, almost too abrasive. I don't know if it'll focus, but you might be able to see. But anyhow, yeah, it's strictly for knocking down high stuff. This Gator brand I got at Westlake's Hardware, and it has I'm just going to say a smooth side and a coarse side. The coarse side is, yeah, it's not going to focus on that, but the coarse side is pretty abrasive, and it seemed to work the best out of any of them I used. But that's just, like I said, that's for knocking down high stuff. This one, I like this one. This one's a good conversation piece, and this is the Durablock. I bought this one off of Amazon, and it was supposed to be a big one, or one like this, I thought, but I didn't pay attention to the dimensions, and I didn't pay attention to the measurements and stuff like that. But it works fantastic for getting in these little grooves, like on the hood right here. Works great for getting in them grooves, and you can put the sticky back sandpaper on the edge, and they're just nice and straight, nice and flat. And it's been a really good tool. I got this in the mail, and I was like, $6. Man, boy, did I get duped. But really, I duped myself. My mistake. Happens a lot. But yes, it's a really good one. It's kind of wore out. I don't know if you can see the model number or not, but that's the model number. It's an AF4400. If you want to look that up on Amazon, and I think I paid either $6 or $12 for it. But this turned out to be a really good one. Now this one is my new pride and joy. I got it right the second time. This is the 24-inch Durablock, and it is, I think, 2 inches wide. I have to look at the paper here. It doesn't specify. I don't know offhand, but I just know that it's a 24-inch long block, and it'll tell you the dimensions and stuff whenever you look it up on Amazon. It's an amazing block. It's not real like stiff, but it's not real, squishy either. So when you go to like your bedside panel and stuff, it forms to it. I do recommend laying it on something flat when you're not using it, because over time it will take form to however it is laid. Because it scared me at first, because I took this thing and I laid it on my workbench, and it was just kind of like that on some junk, and I picked it up and it had a reverse bend to it. But other than that, it's a really good sanding block. It's got a groove down in here, as you can see. for your hands. Super comfortable. It can be kind of cumbersome in tight areas, but like on this OBS here behind me, it works really good on like the door panels and stuff. Bedsides, it gets a little tight like down here, like in the fender, you know, when you're doing your up and down cross X motion. But all in all, I mean, it works great for like up here, you know, with this motion. It'll probably come in clutch whenever I go to use it on the actual top of the cab, because the top of the cab, you know, nobody's really going to see it, but I want to knock it out fast so I can get moving along here. This is, I don't remember if I stated it before, but this model number, you can see it a lot better. It is the model AF4409. And it run me, I found a deal on it on Amazon. I think it run me like $34.99. I know different Amazon stores sell different products for a different price. I'm not sure if Durablock has specified that their products can only sell for a certain price that they choose. But that could be a thing. I don't know if it is or not, but I just know that it was a complete game changer when I got these. I could tell instantly that it was going to work. And the biggest thing was getting the right sandpaper, the right grit. Now, this is a 220 grit sandpaper here I got. It's Duragold. And it is a sticky back. It's a sticky back sandpaper. It's 220. And I don't know if you can see it, it's real faint. But that's the brand. And it comes on a roll. And I mean to tell you what, like, I said earlier that it was, you know, it would load up a little bit, and as you can see on this sanding block, it kind of has, but it's the cheaper of the all-purpose primers. It's the Rustolium Professional Primer with, you know, a Tractor Supply Special. Blah, blah. Tractor Supply Special. I think they did have a recall on this, and that could be a lot of my problem that I'm having, but I'm going to sand the whole truck down with 220 and try to get most of this off. That could be why it's building up, because it's, I don't know, it's really kind of the middle of the line. But I hear good things about this Upol Fantastic Sandable Primer. It's just regular old gray primer. I feel like it's made for automotive use, stuff like that. It says you can use it for other things. I feel like it's going to be a better quality, but really, all in all, I haven't tried this one yet. I'll make some content on it after spraying it, how long it takes to dry and set up, and the quality of the finish, which really doesn't matter because I'm going to sand it, but you know what you're starting with, you know, and the color differential, because once you spray it and then you start sanding it, it's kind of a different color. And it will also work kind of as a guide coat as well because it'll stay that kind of sealed color, and then when you go scratching on it, it will kind of change colors. And what I'm talking about here, I'll take you down here and I'll show you. You might be able to see it on the side of the truck. See how it's a different color? That's not the Upol primer. It's that Rustolium primer, and it's just it's really not a good primer. I don't think. I don't think I'll ever buy it again. But I mean, all in all, I was just trying to cover it up so it wouldn't rust. I did use some of this sandpaper before I got the sticky back. It's the Gator 220/320, and you know, you can definitely tell that you know, this 220 here, I can get it out. Let's stick to the rest of the sheets. Is way different as far as texture goes when it comes to you know, auto body versus drywall. You can almost see the granules on the Gator paper, and on the Durablock paper you can't hardly see them at all. So that's the difference, and that's what I ran into, like I was saying earlier, where I was ready for a finer sandpaper, and I went and bought some of this thinking, you know, 220 like they were talking about, and it was almost as abrasive, and I ended up taking off too much, which, you know, we're all about learning here at 12 Mile Garage, but, you know, I don't like doing crap over again. But it served its purpose. I know you guys have probably seen this. This is pinstriping tape. Like, if you want to lay down some stripes and stuff, there'll be some content in the future, way in the future, using this. But it works good too. I don't know the brand of it. I just got it at O'Reilly's. It does okay. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This Durablock sandpaper, it's just fantastic. I have no complaints really at all. I'll peel a little piece off here for you guys to see the brand, so that way you know what you're looking for. And it's just, you know, just like that. You just, you know, peel it off and stick it. And it's pretty sticky. I mean, if you get a little piece like this and put it on your like, if you drop a piece or whatever, you want a little piece to work a little spot, and you drop it, it'll stick to your shoe and it'll stay. But, you know, I learned a trick from another YouTuber, and he took some of this thick foam insulation and actually stuck it to the truck, and it used it to do a reverse molding, so he could do corners and stuff. So he took this this foam insulation. It's really thick foam insulation, like for a home, and he took it and worked it back and forth just like this, and it started chewing on the insulation. Let's see if I can do it here. And it leaves a groove in the insulation, as you can see here. And he used that to sand the edge of his panel. And I thought that was pretty clever. I probably in the near future, I'm probably going to use that idea. It's pretty, like I said, it's pretty clever. It's a pretty cool idea. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been super impressed with the Durablocks and stuff like that. But I have some spots here that I need to get cleaned up, and those of you that like watching this, work, I'm gonna leave it recording, and I'm gonna clean up a little bit here, and I'm gonna do a little bit of sanding, and I'll let you guys watch. I'm gonna cut you off and clean up a little bit and get prepped and ready to sand this. Alright, now that I got some things put away, use this end of this broom here to kind of wipe off some of the excess dust and stuff like that. And I don't know if you can see it up here, but up close to the cowl there is a lot of pits and stuff. I didn't get my mixture right with my hardener and stuff with the Bondo brand body filler, and it just kind of turned into a little bit of a crater. So I'm gonna have to get some Evercoat glazer putty, try to fill that, or I'm gonna try to take some fiberglass resin or honey, I guess if you will, and try to mix it up and make it thinner and more spreadable and usable that way. But I'm going to do a little bit of sanding here, knock this down. You see a little bit of surface rust here, and I'm going to try to clean that up a little bit. Ouch. But yeah, this is I'm going to use the big block here, but I'm going to prepare the little block too, just to use in the creases and stuff like that. But gotta go get the block here real quick. Messed up and put everything away. But yeah, so it just peels off just like that. And it's, if you didn't catch it earlier in the video, it's Duragold P220. And to keep it from sticking to your shoe, or this works too, you don't want to waste a 24-inch piece. Make sure the backside of your block is really clean. This one's not. You can kind of repurpose your other, your other piece, because as you're sanding, it knocks the abrasiveness down on the paper, and you can repurpose it, and it will re-stick. I will say that Duragold has an amazing adhesive, and you just kind of, what I do is just rip it off the length like that, and go sit this somewhere where it'll collect a bunch of dust all on the floor and, stick to your shoe and get you aggravated on a Tuesday night when you're trying to come out here and relax. But yeah, I just take it and fold it over like that. Just kind of makes for a nice little block. And this block is the AF 4400 4400 AF 4400. Pretty good block. But doing some funky folding here. See if it works. Nope. I'm using an old piece, but it still works pretty good on that block. So we'll go ahead and you can see the bottom of that. It's fairly clean. And now it's fairly dirty. Trying to wipe it off. Anyway, but just take your, it's just super easy, guys. Just take your sandpaper and just run it out. And just kind of mark with your finger, you know, where you want it to be. And give yourself a little bit of leeway, you know, but you don't want to lie hanging over, because it can just be kind of a pain. And just go from there, stick to the bottom. Try to get your fingernail under that. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Try not to drop it. The best I've figured out is to lay it down on the piece, on the panel you're going to be sanding. So that way, when you press this down on the sandpaper, it forms to the way the block's going to go, and it won't wrinkle in the middle. So you just kind of start at one end and just kind of evenly press down, and it sticks. Run your hand down the middle of it. Sometimes I kind of take my ends that are hanging over and try to fold them in so they don't catch on everything. They don't stick for very long because the outside of the block's dirty and all, but I'm using a Harbor Freight respirator. I think the filters are a Gerson. But they seem to do okay. I'm not coughing and hacking and blowing dust out of my nostrils in the shower. So once I put this on, you won't be able to hear me very good, so I'm just going to get at it here. That was a good little few minutes of sanding, and as you can see, the paper works phenomenally well and stays on the block really good. I don't know if you can tell it on camera, but it has made a substantial amount of difference here. I have a ton of blemishes in this, and like I was saying, I'm going to mix up some putty and fill these spots. A good tip whenever you're going through this and trying to fill spots, you know, feel with your hand. Your hand's not going to lie, you know. And if you can't really tell, close your eyes and you'll feel the ripples in it. And if you can't feel where your body filler is, 9 times out of 10, it's flat. But that's where the guide coat comes in. Guide coat it'll make a liar out of a panel. And it'll tell you where all the imperfections are. But I'm going to use this little block for a minute. I'm going to work this crease out in this hood because it's rough. Now I'm going to use that drywall sanding block. Like I was saying earlier, it has its place. Use it on the rough or coarser side here. I'm just going to run it in that, I'm going to run it along that edge. I'm going to knock that real heavy grit down. Up here on this garbage spot, I'm just going to take this on edge and just kind of work it back and forth. It's going to follow the funky contour of that spot, and the hood has a real soft spot in it. I don't know if you can see it moving or not, but you can't really push too hard or you'll concave the panel and it'll give you a really off type of reading, like when you're feeling it. So anyway, guys, that's a little bit of what I'm doing on the OBS. I hope you find your way with the right blocks and stuff like that. I hope it was helpful. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Doesn't matter. Love to hear your input. Thanks again.